What is your promise? Why are you in business? How do you expect to grow?
This is The Hook, a show focused on branding, marketing, and business development.
You brand to inspire, not to sell.
Jason Arsmont, the marketing maverick, gives expertise to business owners, serial entrepreneurs, and anyone interested in building a stronger company brand.
Creating a brand is like telling a story. You've got one shot to say it all.
When your marketing works, you've got them on the hook.
You got it right here on The Hook. Yeah, we're back. Another week with us. Me, Josh Reno. I am the marketing specialist, strategist. I pretty much do everything that Jason wants me to do at Brightbox Brand Marketing, along with the marketing maverick. That's Jason Arsmont right across from me, and we call this show The Hook. Why do we call the show The Hook?
We call it The Hook, man. We've talked about this before. Check the podcast at thehookradio.com. But The Hook is that moment in time when you finally get the consumer, your captivated audience, to make the decision to engage with you. I call that moment The Hook, and that's what we're dedicated to. That's what I'm dedicated to. That's what the show's all about, helping you realize what your hook is and how to get your consumers on the hook.
Yeah, we just talked about that earlier whenever we were talking business, and I said, well, we got to get them on the hook. And you're like, you see,
it's catching on.
And we also call you the marketing maverick, which just real quickly explain the whole marketing maverick thing. If this is the first time you've ever heard, you want to know why exactly is he called the marketing maverick?
Yeah, well, I started my career off very early on working at a marketing firm, and at that time I was just a sales guy. I wasn't allowed to contribute on, marketing strategy and the overall campaigns, and, was finally invited to a meeting to strategize. I gave out some ideas. The client loved it, and one of the executives of a marketing firm leaned over to one of the other owners and said, "Man, that kid's a real maverick." And, kind of stuck from there. And I held on to it. I was like, yeah, I like that. Marketing maverick. So
that's been a little while ago because you're no longer a kid.
No, I'm not a kid anymore. That was about, I think I was 20, 21 whenever I first got that. So I've been riding that one here for almost 17 years.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that you're that old, though, because, you do look really young.
It's in the maverick, it keeps you young, man.
Well, some of us have gotten a little weathered and old, and people like you keep your youth. All right, great. Awesome. I love that. This segment is being brought to you by Brightbox Brand Marketing. Hey, I work there.
Yeah.
We have a new website, too.
We do. Check it out, brightboxonline.com. That's BRIGHT, brightboxonline.com. We are a full-service brand marketing firm. We specialize in helping clients figure out what their 3 W's are, who you are, what you do, who you do it for, your unique market segment, and then translating that down into the actual marketing and branding deliverables, such as your visual, your messaging, your taglines, and then what tactics you need to use from a marketing standpoint to capitalize on your marketing dollars. So check us out there. Would love to engage with you if there's anyone out there in radio world that needs some marketing support.
Not only that, but on the new website, we have a couple of different areas I want you to look at. The first thing is the videos, because I would love the feedback on the videos.
Josh has got a video on there, yeah.
I don't like pictures or video of myself at all. I'd rather talk. I've been doing radio for 20-something years now. But they said, okay, you really got to do a video. So I did choosing your target audience. I know that Brian, who is our production manager, he did creating your color palette. We got Bree on there. We got Jesse and Daniel and Jorge, all covering different topics that we put on YouTube. Yeah. So you can kind of get an idea of just some tips and pointers that we want to give you. This is the free pointers and tips of the trade.
Free pointer section of the show, yeah.
And not only that, but we have our client section. You can go through and look at our clients and go through the case studies that we've put together for them also.
Yeah. I'm really proud of those. We got some great case studies on there, so definitely go check those out. Also, a busy week this week. This coming Wednesday, I'll be speaking at the Houston American Marketing Association. Every year they put on a CX 2016 event. Well, not every year it's 2016, but you get the drift.
Is it Wednesday or is it Tuesday?
It's Tuesday, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's Tuesday.
This Wednesday I have a luncheon, but next Tuesday is the actual speaking event. So go to amahouston.org. You can check it out under their events. It's their CX, Customer Experience 2016 event. This year's campaign or theme is Amaze Me. And so oddly enough, they've asked me to come be the keynote speaker. So I got to think of something amazing to talk about.
Ooh.
Man, I don't know. Starting 7 companies in 8 years, running across Texas, radio show, writing books.
No. I actually think all of that pales in comparison to hiring one of the most dynamic employees you could ever get back a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. That will be the headline of my talk.
Yes.
So if you guys want to hear more about Josh Reno and how we made that hiring decision, come join me at CX 2016. I'd love to see you guys out there. We'll have books. I think we're going to give away some autographed books. It's just going to be a great event. I think it's about an hour and a half long. It's a breakfast thing, so bring your appetite.
And we talked at you keep saying AMA. What does AMA stand for?
Yeah, so American Marketing Association. It's a national association. This is the Houston chapter, which is the largest in the nation. And this is brought to you by their business to business or their B2B SIG. So they have different chairs and committees within AMA. This is the B2B one. But my talk isn't specific to B2B or consumer marketing. So anyone can get value from this talk that I'm going to be giving. We're going to be talking about my unique spin on customer client experience and how really it's been an intricate part of my success. So I'll be taking the attendees through a mini brand analysis as well based on my new book, The Brand Map, which you can check out at Amazon.com. Get that book ahead of time and then come to the breakfast, and I'll be taking you guys through that kind of step by step of the first few parts of the brand map. It should be really good, and I hope that everyone gets their money's worth, right?
I'm actually excited about this, and look, at our company we have this very laid back approach to your serious company needs. Because we don't want to feel all stuffy whenever we're at your office. We want to feel like you're comfortable with us. So we don't do a whole lot of ties. I don't, at least.
No, we don't. I wouldn't say that, the culture of our organization isn't suit and tie, but we do try to look fly.
Yeah, pretty much. So Jason does more ties than I do. But this is a chance for me to get out there in a tie once again.
We're going to see that tie from 1988 or something.
It's that
the dusty one.
Remember that tie I wore whenever I interviewed?
In both interviews, same tie? No, yeah.
No, it was reversible. You didn't know.
That's what it was. It was a belt. I think that was a belt.
It was a belt.
You had it tied around your neck.
I had a bolo tie.
Yeah. Well, this show is going to be a really good show today. Josh, you alluded earlier about the Brightbox site and the new videos that we have on there and how we link them on YouTube. And YouTube and social media in general is one of those things that we get a lot of questions about. People email us to go to thehookradio.com and they hit the submission button to get in touch with us and email us. Constantly getting questions about how to properly engage on social media, what platforms. We talked a lot about this a couple weeks ago, so you can go to thehookradio.com, click on radio, and you'll see a full podcast of all of the shows. The second one before last was called Social Media. So check that out. But today, we have a guy who has figured out how this social media thing works. YouTube specifically, Chris Jones. He is a YouTube sensation. I mean, he's killing it on YouTube with over 1.5 million subscribers combined. He has taken, his online coaching service into a YouTube brand, into now a fitness apparel brand. So he's got shirts and clothes. I mean, the guy's just done a phenomenal job and leveraged all of this out of his house, no money from what I can tell. We'll talk to him today. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. He'll be in our third and hopefully fourth segment. We'll see if we can get enough of his time.
You said he does training videos?
Like fitness training. So he's, he's a gym guy, so he'll help get you in shape, how to get in the gym, what weights to use. And so I guess he was like a coach locally, and then he decided to get on YouTube, caught some traction, went on to an online training platform, helping people all over the country prepare for shows and lose weight. And then he recently started pumpchasers.com, which is a fitness apparel, so shirts and pants and stuff like that. I mean, it's just phenomenal what this guy's done. I've followed him for some time now, and I'm just I'm ecstatic to have him on and see if we can't get some tips from him, man.
Excellent. Can't wait to talk to him. That comes up in a few segments. And again, whenever we talk about going to check out our old podcast, anything that we do on the show, or if you want to sign up for the newsletter, maybe you want to find out more about what's coming up, you can always find us on thehookradio.com. I know we throw out a lot of websites between Brightbox and Jason Arsmont and Ontobox, and we have so many different areas. really, we kind of channel everything together where you can find all the information on our website, which is thehookradio.com. We'd love for you to visit. And again, sign up for the newsletter. That way, whenever the podcast is available, you'll know that it's online. If you missed any part of it, or if you missed something in the past, or if you just want to find out what's going on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, and now what we're doing, and we got a link to this on thehookradio.com, but our full YouTube channel, we feature the extended interviews of the folks that we bring in studio and our guests. So
cool.
Not all the time on the air are we able to get the entirety of the whole interview. We have to kind of chop it up sometimes and get just enough of it. But I'm starting to post all of those full interviews on YouTube. So go on there, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and engage with us. Keep the emails coming. We love them. We're responding to all of them. At least I think we are. We're trying our best. So stay with us, and look forward to this. It's going to be a great show.
Coming up next, the business tip of the day. We will talk about that on the way. That's Jason Arsmont, the Marketing Maverick. I'm Josh Reno. Got us on the hook. It's time for our business tip of the day right here on The Hook with Jason Arsmont, me, Josh Reno. TheHookRadio.com is where you can find everything you need. We talk about it over and over. But the reason we do that is because we want you to go to the website. That's the only point I'm trying to get across. And I would really like it if you signed up for the newsletter, because that makes me feel validated a little bit, somewhat. This is brought to you by shadowboxtalent.com, one of my favorite companies in the whole world, because, well, they helped me get the job that I have right now.
Yeah, they landed you your job. That's good.
Not the one at the radio station, but with Brightbox. It helped me to do this job, and so I'm very happy about working with them at Shadowbox Talent. They have more than just recruiting needs that they fulfill, though.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a small to mid-sized business and you're struggling with just even having an actual HR department, policies, procedures, having manuals, keeping up with health insurance and the rising costs of Obamacare and everything that's happening with that, payroll processing, staffing, recruiting, you name it, full HR outsourcing. If you're stressed out with that, if you're having problems keeping up with that, get in touch with the folks, Gary and Callie Valentine, over at shadowboxtalent.com. They have worked just amazing things within my organizations, and we wouldn't be where we are today if we didn't have the backbone of some really good HR folks there to save so much of my time. I mean, it's unbelievable how much time you free up when you're not dealing with all that HR world. So,
and if you ever call them and they're not there at the office, then they're probably volunteering, because they're really active, man. I love it. I'm really proud to be part of them. I don't know if they do it every month or every few months. They pick an organization to go and help and do some volunteer work.
It's once a month. They take the whole staff out of the office and they just go.
That's right. Pull everybody and they go do work.
Work.
They do work.
They do work, son.
So
yeah, I love it, man. It's a good group, really good group. So, this business tip of the day, I don't know if it's so much as a tip as I just wanted to put some emphasis on this. Finding your voice. This applies to businesses and individuals, your personal brand. When you talk about a tagline, when you talk about writing brochure content or what content that goes on your website or doing a video, it's really important. And in our next two segments, we've got someone who has done just a phenomenal job of defining and amplifying his voice. Whether it's intentional or deliberate, his personality and approach is just blown up through YouTube. Started out doing coaching, he's moved to doing YouTube videos, and those videos has really just amplified him. And I think we're going to find out at least, but I think it's due mainly to the fact of his personality and really defining who he is and what he wanted to try to get across. So stay tuned. Next couple segments are going to be really insightful for those of you that want some insight on, how to approach YouTube, how to really approach social media. And I challenge that it all comes down to this idea of finding your voice. What do you talk about? How do you sound? How do you come across in the content and in videos that you do? It's way more difficult than it sounds.
And just to talk about Chris Jones a little bit, something that he does all the time, beast mode.
Yeah. Oh, Beast Mode Jones. Yeah.
That's his voice. I mean, these are the things, and he doesn't pull punches. What he is what he is. Yeah. You'll see that on the front page of his own of his personal site where, he'll throw around some colorful words, but hey, he means it in the best way possible.
Yeah.
This is how I am.
We're going to ask him about that, right? I mean, I'm going to call him out on it and just see what, where did that come from? Is that deliberate? I always wonder about when we look at the social media landscape and we see the people that are doing really well, and I have clients come to me all the time and ask, say, hey, I want to be like that on social media. We're a marketing firm. We help folks with social media and stuff like that. And one of the things that I have to kind of do is I have to stop them a little bit and say, look, nowadays you really have to look at social media. It's kind of like the new TV. The personalities that you would see on a TV show, the fact that only a handful of people can be selected to be a figure on a TV show or an episode or a movie, that's really what social media is. I mean, there's so many people on social media. Only the cream of the crop, the unique personalities are going to rise to the top of that talent pool. Whether it's unique content, personality, approach, style.
It's funny you talk about that because finding that voice and finding people that it appeals to is a very funny thing. And I know that you are a follower of Chris Jones. Are there any other people that you follow on Facebook or social media that you follow because they have such a different point of view?
Yeah. I mean, I guess, I'm trying to mentally go through the people that I subscribe to or I follow.
Lot.
And there's a lot, but they all have a unique thing. And it's not that they have to, their personality's quirky, right? Or Chris is very, he's just an out there kind of personality. You can't ignore Chris. You can't help but notice the way that he acts, and it is really engaging and fun. But then there's people that I follow just because I feel the content is very specific and detail-oriented and strategic from a business standpoint. And so, yeah, I think that's what we have to do when we ask ourselves to become relevant on social media is say, okay, well, one, what am I doing that's so different than everybody else? We can't have everybody doing the exact same thing. I mean, you're kind of shaking your head. I guess you've experienced some of this.
So on Facebook, there are two different people that I follow that I think are absolutely hilarious. One is a girl that does My Drunk Kitchen. Nice. And the reason it's funny is because she will drink and then put things together that are supposed to taste really good. And about halfway through, it takes you through anytime you've tried to cook something when you've had a little bit too much to drink. Yeah. Because it happens. It'll sneak up on you sometimes. And so she's really funny. And then there's this guy, I don't know exactly how to say his last name, Matt Balassi or Balassi. I don't know.
Better you than me. Yeah, I don't know.
He also covers very unique interactions that he has with the office are text messages, and he drinks wine along the way.
Nice,
and gets more and more irate as he goes, and it is fabulously awesome. I mean, it's hilarious.
Well, and I think that's a good example of what it takes to stand out, right? And I think, whether it's a jewelry store or a frozen yogurt company or an oil and gas service company, these clients will come to us, and I'm sure you guys all talk about this, you listeners out there in radio world talk about this amongst your friends and stuff. Like, how can my company be relevant? Well, to be honest, you're going to have to step outside of what it is you're trying to sell and look at a unique way or a unique position, maybe even completely separate from what it is you're trying to sell, to make an interesting video or a series of videos or a series of posts or a social media, voice. And then once you get the following, then you can kind of back end the sell,
We did the same thing with David Shaw, with Winshaw.
Yeah.
Because David Shaw is, he's one of our clients. Winshaw he's a distributor of hydraulic tools. He's actually the expert in hydraulic tools. The good thing about David Shaw is that he works very hard on videos. He loves to do videos, and these are all instructional videos. And basically, they prove that he is the expert because he knows about all of his products, but he also knows the limitations of the products and taking them beyond that. He was just talking to me the other day, and he said, I want to find a unique way to show you this pump that I have, a hydraulic pump. And he said, what I'm going to do is, because they say that it can go in weather that is sub so-and-so degrees, sub-freezing or whatever it is. Yeah. He's like, so right now I have one of our pumps in a block of ice, or trying to get in a block of ice so that I can show something on a video. And I'm like, are you crazy? He's like, yeah, because I want to prove this. Yeah. I'm showing what we're able to do, what we're capable of. And People will never believe it until they see it.
Yeah.
It's a different take. Of course. It's awesome.
Yeah. It'll be engaging. It'll be interesting, whether you're an engineer or you're just somebody in the industry or you just stumble across it when you see a pump and an ice block and then he's trying to drive over it with a forklift or something.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to do interesting stuff like that. And I think that's really what it takes. I mean, we're going to talk with Chris about how much product he's now moving, because he's not just YouTube, he's not just a coach anymore, but now he's actually got a fitness apparel brand. He's selling shirts and straps and all kinds of things. And from what I gather, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And that's only because has a social media presence and a personality and a voice that has resonated with the audience. So I'm excited to talk with him. We've got a great couple segments coming up.
Yeah, we actually have to bail because we have him coming on next. So he's on the line right now. So let's get some commercials in, and we'll come right back with Chris Jones and talk about beast mode.
Holler back at your boy.
That's coming up next on The Hook. You found us right here on The Hook. We're back at it. My name is Josh Reno, along with Jason Arsmont, the Marketing Maverick, and you can always find us on thehookradio.com. We talk about it a lot. Got a special guest on the line.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this guest today. He's become really a YouTube sensation with a combined subscriber base of over 1.5 million subscribers. Obviously, he's figured out the recipe for YouTube. He's also doing online coaching. He's got his own fitness apparel brand at pumpchasers.com. I'm talking about the one and only Chris Jones. Chris, welcome to the show, my man.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, let's get right to it. I know, maybe you could give us a little background on, who you are, where you got started. For those who don't know Chris Jones, give us a little introduction about what it is you do.
Well, long story short, I am a personal trainer. I started off personal training for a couple of years before I started doing YouTube. And, to get more clients, because a lot of people may not know this, but unless you're like a celebrity trainer, training celebrities from movies, or, got your own studio where, you have people come to your studio, you train them at your studio, you don't really make a lot of money. So I wanted to kind of get into a position to where, I can get more exposure and possibly invest in my own little studio, or at least become a freelance trainer to where, you pay rent and you just train at some privately owned gym. And obviously, you got to get more exposure to make that happen. So, I got into YouTube for that purpose and that purpose only.
Okay.
Never had a goal of doing what I'm doing now. It just kind of happened, over years we all grow. Over years, the goals you may have in 2005 may change in 2015.
Right.
So that's all growth.
So it started out, you just thought you'd do a couple videos just to kind of promote yourself. You weren't thinking you were going to create this huge fan base and kind of become a real public figure.
Exactly. I just basically got on there showing tips, how to do this, how to do that, what to eat, how to cook it. Because people tell you what to eat and all this crap, but they don't tell you how to make it. You know, do you bake it? Do you grill it?
And how to make it taste good, right?
Yeah, how to make it taste good. Because we're not fat because food doesn't taste good.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes no sense to take somebody who's fat or overweight and put them on some diet where the food isn't good. They're fat because food tastes good to them. So put them on a diet to where some food can taste good. It makes no sense. I never understood that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's I can understand from the coaching to YouTube. Was it at the same time that you went to online coaching, or when did you make that decision to start kind of the online portion of your business?
That's a good question. See, I got into YouTube to get more personal training clients. Now, I had no idea, absolutely no idea, that YouTube actually can pay you for your views. I assumed.
Are you kidding me?
YouTube, I had absolutely no idea. I assumed people just did it for fun, to get some fans.
Man, nice. I
saw people selling shirts and stuff like that, so I assumed maybe they did it to promote their shirts. I didn't know YouTube actually gives you a check for if you get so many views. I swear I had no idea. I didn't know this until like my 6th month of doing YouTube, and we got a shout out from a popular channel called the Hodge Twins.
Okay.
huge channel, you know, and they shouted me out. They recognized, you know, my grind. They really respected what I did, and they gave me a shout out. And the channel just blew up, and I started seeing all these comments in the comments saying, these guys are about to blow up. He's about to get so much money. I'm like, how?
You're like, wow, I can only do so much online training. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And once I found out you have to sign up through Google. You know, Google owns practically everything. And, you know, I signed up through Google, and they give – it's kind of like how websites work. You know, you got to go to a website. You see all these pop-ups where they get paid for those pop-ups. It's kind of how YouTube works. Those commercials that pop up, those pop-ups on the side, you get paid for that.
Wow.
And, man, long story short, it was paying me much more than personal training ever did, so I just kind of gave up on that and just started focusing on the channel, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Which is why I was posting so much, posting like 4 or 5 videos a week. And gave up on that. And the only reason why I got into online coaching is because, for one, once I got to a certain level of success with YouTube, you can only record so many videos about how to do a curl, how to do a squat. You know, I got over 800 videos on POG. I got over 100 videos on my new channel. So, you know, you can only repeat so much of the same stuff. So I even thought about getting a part-time job because I went from posting 5 videos a week to 3 videos a week. And my girlfriend was like, why don't you go into personal training? And I was like, well, it doesn't pay me enough. YouTube pays me like way more than personal will.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, the next best thing to get into the online aspect, that way I can still go back to my personal training roots.
Right.
You know, like if you go get personal training hands-on, it's going to cost you 4 times as much as going through myself. And you can practically get the same results. You may not get the same motivation because it's much more motivational to have somebody in your ear, go give me another one, this and that, you know. But if you want to know how to do a squat, I have a link I can show you step by step. You want to know how to cook a meal I tell you to eat, I can give you that link. Because like I said, it's almost 1,000 videos.
Man.
Of me giving straight tips, you know. So
and folks,
really helps.
Yeah, we're talking with Chris Jones with Pump Chasers. You can go on YouTube. I guess the extension is actually Beast Mode Training, but you can just search Pump Chasers, and I'm sure you'll find Chris there and all his videos. You know, we're talking about how his business has progressed, and you know, I can see the progression from coaching to YouTube to now doing the online. So what seems like a big jump for me is the clothing line, the fitness apparel that you're doing. When did you make that decision? Because that just seems like a big jump.
That's a good question. You must really watch me because you really asked some good questions that only somebody who watched me would know. But long story short, now I'm not sure how well you are, how educated you are in the fitness field, but a lot of people's dreams in the fitness field, once you get to your physique to a certain level, so many people have that fantasy of wanting to get, sponsored by a company, maybe get on stage and get a pro card and, maybe make a living off your physique.
Yep.
And long story short, people don't realize the only way to get sponsored, pretty much get free stuff and get a check from a company so you can just quit your job and work out for a living. In order to have that kind of opportunity, let me give you an example for like myself. Like if I'm going to sponsor somebody and pretty much pay them to wear my stuff, I need to get a return on my investment. You need to be in a position where you can get me more sales. You're not going to take some guy off the street and give him free stuff
right.
and pay for him to travel if he's not making you any money. So long story short, I was getting sponsored not because of my physique, not because I'm competing, because I don't compete. I was getting sponsored, getting free stuff, getting paid to wear people's stuff, people paying for me to travel. It's because I have so many followers, and obviously I wear a shirt, and I say I got it from this website, you should go buy it. That's giving them sales. And I would get like 10% commission. I would give some kind of promo code, and that promo code wasn't necessarily to give you a discount. It's to let them know how many people came from me.
Right. What kind of check to cut back to you? Got it.
Exactly. So I would get my 10% commission checks, and they'll be like in the high thousands. And I'm like, over time, it was cool, but then I started thinking, wow, if this is 10%,
what's 100 look like?
What does 100% look like?
Yeah. Funny thing, that's how Rockaware, that's how Jay-Z started his clothing line.
Yeah, exactly.
Same way,
You
man.
know,
That's cool.
I just wised up, and obviously I didn't jump on it head first. You gotta, have money to start a business.
Well, that's
so I
an
just
interesting point, though. I've watched you, and I have to say that for those listeners who haven't been following Chris, I do a lot of business consulting and a lot of marketing, and I have to say, hands down, you've done a phenomenal job of managing your business, at least from what it looks like. So many times I see guys start companies, they go throw a ton of money, get a warehouse, they do all this stuff, they get too much inventory. I've watched you slowly kind of build your inventory, build your product base. Was that all intentional, or what was your philosophy or kind of methodology behind doing that? Because I have to say, man, that takes a lot of restraint for most people starting a company.
Well, because keep in mind, there's so much competition in this business. You can't just call somebody and say, hey, where do you get your stuff made?
Yeah.
How do you do it? They're not going to just give the competition all the info that need to potentially compete with them. So, I would do a lot of Googling, a lot of reading, things like that. And, I'm really, I don't want to say cheap, but I guess you could say scared with my money. So, instead of
I call that
making
smart,
huge
man.
jumps, instead of making huge jumps, just make small jumps. Because I'm so glad we started small, because the shipping aspect, which is what I thought maybe the simplest thing, is what gave me so much trouble. Learning how to ship orders and get them to people in a timely manner, organize all the sides. We made so many mistakes with shipping. I gave away so much free stuff.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I know in one of your recent videos, you guys were talking about possibly getting a new location that was going to cut down on a lot of your shipping headaches, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to get a little warehouse space and take it to the next level. I started off with 2 items, and every few weeks I come out with 2 more items. And, I feel like if you just be patient and go at your own pace, the money will come. Just make sure you keep breaking them videos.
The videos are it, huh? Guys, we're talking to Chris Jones with Pump Chasers. You can check him out on YouTube. He's also got pumpchasersclothing.com. Is that the best URL, Chris?
Yeah, pumpchasers.com, or you can type in pumpchasersclothing.com. I got both domains.
Got it all locked down. All right, I like it.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's fascinating looking at your story. Do you have any idea to give the listeners that don't know you the kind of volume that you're moving of product nowadays? Because you got clothing, you've got wrist wraps, you got shirts, you got pants, you got men's and women's. I see you loading up your truck full of bags to take to service these clients of yours and get them to the post office. What kind of volume are you guys going through right now? Because it seems like a lot for you and I guess it's you and Denise, right?
Me and Denise, and I got my brother. Keep in mind, when we have holidays or if we do like a 20% off sale, the volume is ridiculous.
Okay, all right.
Obviously, Christmas was huge, and if we do like a 20% off Veterans Day or Memorial Day sales obviously go up. People are going to take advantage of those sales. But on average, we move at least 400 to 600 units a day. Mind you, we have a lot of overseas followers. We have people follow from different states. Which is why online shopping is so effective. Obviously, if I had a local store in Dallas, Texas, and nobody knew me outside of this state, the sales wouldn't be so great.
Absolutely.
But,
absolutely.
Since I have access to people in Australia, I have, followers in the UK, Germany, Canada, even Mexico, things just sell itself. Just do a workout video, training chest, make sure I'm wearing one of these tank tops, and the sales are gonna, it's gonna sell itself.
That's awesome. I hope the listeners are catching here. This is the dawn of a new business age. I mean, you're seeing no more of the brick and mortar. I mean, eventually, Chris is saying he's going to have to get a warehouse and have some infrastructure, but for the most part, he's doing all of this out of his house, out of his own, abilities of what he can do with digital and YouTube and social media, and it's just created a huge following. Listen to that, the amount of volume that he's moving is just incredible. Well, Chris, man, do you have a couple more minutes? We have to take a quick break. I've got a couple other questions I'd love to ask you specific to social media if you've got a minute for us.
Oh, no problem.
If you are just getting in on the later part of this interview, too, you can always check us out at thehookradio.com. We're going to have the full thing posted, but we're going to come up again next with our guest. It's The Hook Radio.
I heard you had to drive him.
listening to The Hook. My name is Josh Reno, along with Jason Arsemont, the marketing maverick. Great guest on the line with us today. And who would have thought you could get paid, or you could get paid for YouTube, right?
Oh, it's unbelievable,
yes,
man.
You know, people.
Yes.
I don't think
surprised.
I don't think people realize that if you get enough people hitting that you actually get money. And how was it whenever you first did that? Do they email you and say, "Hey, what's an address for us to send a check to?"
Yeah, you can either do check, they can do direct deposit. They used to do PayPal, but they stopped doing that. It's just check, direct deposit, man, and all you have to do is apply. Anybody can apply. Even if you have no subscribers, you can apply. Now, you won't get no money, but anybody can definitely apply to receive funds for their views, definitely.
Yeah.
The first time you saw that money, it must have been like, all right,
I've been doing
humbling,
life. Very humbling.
I've been doing this life the wrong way up until now, and it's a good thing we got the internet to give me a little cash back, right?
Yeah, definitely. I can't believe it.
Well, folks, we've got Chris Jones on the phone with us. Chris is on YouTube. Check him out there. Pump Chasers, pumpchasers.com. YouTube, online coaching and training. We've got apparel. I mean, this guy is all over the place doing a phenomenal job. You know, Chris, I'd like to take it back to the beginning for a minute. I know you said you first started day one of YouTube thinking you're just going to get exposure, not really understanding or knowing that you could monetize that. What did that look like for you to start actually getting some traction? Were you promoting these? How were you sharing the videos? Maybe give us a little bit of insight on the early days.
So pretty much what I did to try to get the channel some exposure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's a good question, because obviously if you just post a video working out, nobody's going to find you, for the simple fact, if some average Joe just come off the street, type in chest, how to work your chest, my brand new channel isn't going to pop up on the search. It's going to be the top channels. You know? Nobody's going to scroll down and look for the new underdogs. They're going to see, oh, this channel, this video has 1 million views. It must be good. You know, so to get the exposure, I utilize Facebook.
Okay.
You know, sharing with my Facebook friends, encouraging your viewers to share on Facebook. People don't realize the power, you know, Facebook. It's so easy to accumulate views. It doesn't take but one click to share a video on Facebook, you know. Sharing on Facebook. Now, keep in mind, things have changed. Back when I was doing YouTube in 2011, they had this thing to where I could actually submit my video to your channel, and if you're nice enough, you can have it in the bottom as a response.
Oh, that's right. I think I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was epic. All you had, like, if I put a video up, foods I like to eat after I work out.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you make a video telling what you like to eat when you work out. You know, I like to eat bananas, you like to eat oranges, whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All you have to do is just send me that link, and if I'm nice enough, I can just put your video in the response section so viewers can clearly see other channels covering the same topic and go see their take on it. It was very, people were actually helping everybody. It was like, I will be the first to tell you, if it wasn't for the community being so helpful, you know, shouting me out. I've been shouted out by over 50 channels saying, hey, this new guy named Chris Jones, he's funny, you should check him out, you know.
Yeah.
Word of mouth, sharing on Facebook. And, you know, the way YouTube was set up back in the day really helped me grow.
Yeah, and Facebook.
You know?
I mean, Facebook has changed a lot as far as what your subscribers or your followers actually get to see. I mean, you've got to do so much more paid posts and boosts now on Facebook. So, I mean, you started right at just an amazing time. What about nowadays?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a good following, obviously. You guys are doing your thing. You're doing a phenomenal job at it. You're posting regularly. Are you doing anything now to continue to kind of grow your your subscriber, your following base?
Definitely. I'm definitely doing, what I'm doing is branding out. You know, I got this new girl named Sandra. I call her my protege. I met her at the gym. I saw she had great potential because she just needed some guidance. That's helping me bring out the women. You know, my viewers have always been mostly male. You know, I've always get women emailing me all the time saying, hey, I see, you know, you're doing your thing. Do you train women? I'm thinking to myself, how do I not train women? I'm a personal trainer.
Right, yeah.
But if you're obviously only seeing guys on my channel, you're going to assume I'm a trainer for the men. So, you know, branching out, bringing women to my channel, bringing guests. Make sure you tag me on Instagram. Well, you have your own followers. You may have 10,000 followers or whatever friends you have following you. not all of your friends are gonna know who I am.
Right.
So that's like, oh, who is Beast Mode Jones? That's a cool shirt. I'm gonna go to his Instagram and check him out.
Yeah.
Bam! I just made a new follower.
Yeah.
Now,
See,
if
and
100 people do that a day,
yeah, it starts adding up, right?
People, yeah.
Yeah, I love
Exactly,
that advice,
it
guys.
adds up.
Chris is saying, like, don't just put stuff out there and hope they do it. Tell them what you want them to do with the content, right? And I mean, you do that every time at the end of your video, right?
Encourage them to like your video. Every video, I encourage them to like.
Comment, like, and share, right?
Like, comment, like, and share, everybody, and buy 30 minimum.
Minimum, yeah. Holler back. Well, I think a tough part for a lot of people, and we get tons of emails all the time from people asking us about marketing and how to get started on social media. And it seems like so many people are either intimidated or not sure on how to find their voice, their personality. Obviously you've done a phenomenal job, and I have a feeling that a lot of that's kind of natural for you. But do you have any tips for people on how to get comfortable in front of the camera or on the microphone, or how to really kind of find themselves?
Man, what really helps me is just being comfortable, being confident, and don't be afraid to be yourself. Everybody can't be the same. When I first started YouTube, you watched my videos, man.
Mm-hmm.
People were telling me, even my own dad, he told me, maybe you should clean up your act, go with the clean cut act, don't use profanity, do this, do that. I'm like, that's just too much work. And not only that, everybody's already doing it. Everybody's already with the pretty boy thing, got their shirt off.
Yeah.
To show you how to work out with the tight shorts. I mean, we need different flavor. We need, people go to Baskin Robbins because they have 31 flavors.
Yeah.
We need to see people doing different things. Don't be afraid to be yourself. And not only that, you have to have personality, because everybody's in this business doing the same thing. What separates you from everybody else is your personality. If you don't have a physique, you shouldn't be doing fitness tips anyway. What separates you is your personality.
Yeah.
And my biggest thing is, if some random guy somebody can't get on camera and do a Chris Jones impersonation, I don't have enough character. Somebody was like yourself, do a Chris Jones impersonation, my viewers will automatically know, hey, that's Chris Jones.
Yeah.
You sound like Chris Jones, because that's my character is animated. So if you want to be successful in marketing, you want to grow your social media, you want people to follow you, you have to have your own character.
Oh, absolutely. And your own kind of dialogue. You've done a phenomenal job of kind of getting these catchphrases. I'll be at the gym, and someone will say something about hugging the sleeves, and within seconds, somebody's going to say Chris Jones, right? Somebody's bringing it up, because you've kind of coined these phrases, man. You've just done a phenomenal job. And so, listeners, if you're not familiar, some of this, I know Chris is holding back because we're on live radio right now, but go check out his YouTube page, and, just one video, you'll get a taste of kind of the real personality and kind of the unique character and attributes that Chris brings to a YouTube video. And it's hard not to fall in love with that personality. It's contagious to want to follow him, and really it's just entertaining. You're just really good at that, Chris, and I think so much of that's natural. And I guess that's great advice. Those people that want to do this, you need to be yourself, because you can't keep up 3-4 videos a day being somebody else, being fake. Yeah. I think it's a big misconception that this is an easy business, too. Well, you just make videos, you put them online. Tell us a little bit about just the time. I can only imagine how much time you're putting into creating these videos on a consistent basis. Is that pretty overwhelming?
It can be. That's why I got to pace myself. You got to pace yourself. People just assume, you point the camera, you record, and just post a video and go about your day, but you don't realize it takes time to record the video. Then you have to transfer them to your computer and edit them.
Yep.
And after you edit them, you have to upload them and then write everything in the description that you want people to know.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you have a special guest, if I have a lady friend on a video, now I got to spend time going through the comments, make sure nothing's out of line, because this is the internet. People can get ignorant.
Yeah. I can just imagine. You guys imagine trying to carry a camera around with you all day long, capturing what you're doing. And, and then I've heard people say, oh, well, the YouTube gig's easy. You're just doing videos. But, man, it's an all-day thing. You're constantly thinking about what you can or can't put on the video. And then you still got to go back and you got hours of editing and doing the video. So it definitely hats off. It's not easy, man.
The editing and uploading process is what really takes a good chunk of your time.
And have you always done your own editing and uploading, or are you still doing that? Is that all you?
I am doing it myself, but since once I get this warehouse, I'm going to focus more on the brand. I'm going to actually hire somebody to do that for me. Okay. But I'll be honest with you, I actually like doing my own editing because I get to show you what I want you to see exactly how I want you to see it.
Yeah.
So I might just, do the vlogging myself, like showing you what I'm eating, the eating with Chris type of stuff, but like motivational workout, training montages. I will go ahead and hire somebody because in my warehouse I am going to have equipment there too.
Okay.
So I want to be probably training at my own gym.
Good.
And definitely going to hire somebody to come through there.
You thinking the Christian Guzman format? He's blowing up with his gym now.
Oh, definitely. I look up to that guy. I'm not going to lie to you. He's so young, but he's definitely does so much. He definitely keeps me grinding. Every time I see a video of his or a picture of him, I'm like, okay, I can't slack.
He works his face off, man. He works. That's for sure. Yeah, definitely impressive.
Can't slack. And he has a team. I don't even have a team. It's just me, my girlfriend, my brother. But I'm gonna definitely have a team. So like I said, I like to keep my costs down, profits high.
Absolutely.
In some cases, you gotta definitely spend money to make money. So it's about that time because if you come to my house, the living room is not a living room anymore. It's just shelves on top of shelves.
Yeah.
The garage, my car is not in the garage. I keep my car outside now because the garage is shelved up. So it's about that time to bite the bullet, take a new risk. I hate taking risks, but take a new risk. Go ahead and get that warehouse and hire a couple of helps, and we're going to see what happens.
Well, it's awesome. You guys can, listeners, follow the Chris Jones story. Get on YouTube. Check him out. Go to his website, pumpchasers.com. You can search Pump Chasers on YouTube and find him. Social media on Facebook, Instagram. Follow this guy. Follow his journey. He's doing some amazing things. I love what he's doing. Chris, man, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate your time. It's been amazing. I'm sure our listeners have taken away some valuable lessons and some nuggets here for sure.
Most definitely. Good. Thanks for having me. Hopefully next time I even have more success to share with you.
You got it, man. Well, if you're ever in Houston, holler at me, man. I'll take you to my gym. We'll do some stuff at my gym for sure. That'd be awesome.
Oh, most definitely. Just show you high volume.
High volume. I'm scared of that, man, especially on leg day. I don't know if I can hang with that. Well, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Everyone, make sure you follow next week. We've got Kevin Tomlinson in the studio with us with KevinTomlinson.com podcast. Kevin is an expert on writing books and articles and helping to promote yourself through written content. So you're going to want to tune in next week and listen about that. Remember to stay active in your goals each day. Keep your eye on the prize, and we'll see you out there. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thanks for listening. It's Jason Arsmont. My name is Josh Reno. We are The Hook. We'll see you next week.